What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of TNC Reacts. Today is Wednesday Wonder, where we just kind of talk about what is happening and why it's happening. And in this case, right now, it's the dating world. Why is the dating world being presented as it is online? Because in the real world, let's not use the internet, but in the real world, I rarely see or hear people talking about you got to come with $400 for a first date. A coffee date doesn't work. All of these things that they say that a man shouldn't do on the first date, a lot of people do it. And I wonder why these particular individuals that do spit this type of rhetoric get so much play and no one really discredits it. Um, I've always wondered why has dating turned so odd, and if you're a man and you want to say something about it, you're deemed sassy. Like the insults for men when they disagree with certain narratives that are being pushed, there's always some form of an insult for a guy. If you want to debate an issue with a woman, you get called sassy. If you don't agree with them, you're sassy. I don't know if it's because they believe insulting someone can then bully them into submission, maybe. I don't know. It's a weird tactic. But truth be told, when it comes to dating, if you really like the person, you're gonna be open to try different things. It's not gonna be based on money. When you have people that are basing everything off of money, they're not really interested in you. And I think that's what people need to start understanding. If somebody's like, I won't go on a date with you unless you take me to Roof Chris or something like that, the only reason they're setting that up is because they really don't like you. They just want a free meal of something of high caliber or high status and be able to brag about it. Because I'm sorry, if we're just going out for the first time, I don't see any reason why I should spend half of a mortgage on somebody. You know what I mean? Now, half of a mortgage depending on how long ago you bought the house. But $400 is more than a car payment. And you're expecting me to give that to you on the first date, even though I'm just paying for us to eat. That is unrealistic because if we're going to be honest about dating, dating is talking and getting to know one another. It's very hard to communicate with food in your mouth unless you're just nasty and you smack and talk with your mouth open. You know what I mean? Like, hey, so how's it going with you? And like, that's not proper etiquette. But most first dates are getting to know one another so you can continue to escalate in the dates and what you try and what you do. Everybody just expects this big fluff and give me all of this right now when it's not realistic. There's nothing about it that's realistic to where you should believe that $400 is going to tell you about somebody. It doesn't. Even if I got $400 to blow, I'm probably going to try to put it to somewhere or better use. All right, here's $400. What am I going to do with it? Am I going to put some money into the stock? Am I going to put money over here where it can actually grow some interest? What am I going to do with it that's going to benefit me more than one date and that be it? You know, uh, you got to blow my mind and all of that stuff. What does this do to gesture? You know what I mean? Like, I got to sit out here and do the choose me. No, nobody's going to do that. It doesn't make sense because both of you are coming to the table equally. Both of you are trying to get to know each other. No one's higher or better than the other. And I think there's a little bit of entitlement and a self inflation of oneself because they think that, oh, because we're going on a date, you got to kiss my butt in order for me to choose you. And it goes both ways because either way it goes, it's like, okay, either we like each other or we don't. Either you're cool and I'm not, or I'm cool and you're not. But that's not understood until you actually communicate with one another. Because, yeah, you may communicate on the phone, but let's be realistic. Most people don't talk on the phone that much, prior to a first date. They'll talk a little bit, then go on the date, then continue to talk more. So I just wonder why did these new outlandish statuses or ideals pop up. I don't know if it was a bunch of chicks that were hustling or if it was some dudes that made women write that stuff just to get people to buy the books, because we have to understand society wants women single because the more single they are, the more they're willing to spend and do things that'll put them in debt permanently. I'm not making this up. If you go look at the old Vogue magazines, they'll tell you that the things that they wrote were all false because they were told to write those things to get the population moving in a certain direction. Man, when I heard it, it blew my mind. Now, on the flip side, you have to ask yourself, if that's all they're asking for, and they expect you to do $400 on the first night, why? Because why would you ask that? You know what I mean? Because if you had a choice, would you spend $400 on a first date? Would you be like, yeah, let's go out here? Like, imagine if women had to pay for the first date. What type of date do you think they take you on? I know that sounds weird, but if we're being realistic, what do you think the first date would look like? It would not be fancy. It would not be any of that. They would come up with some cool idea, but it'd probably be like a picnic or something like that. It ain't going to be something that's going to cost a lot of money, because we have to be honest. Women don't like being in that position where they got to pay. They don't. They're very selfish with their money for the most part until they like you. If they like you, man, you're going to get looked out for. But until that point, ask any woman about dates and what they think, and they're going to be against it. And it's only because I know overseas, and this is like in Europe and stuff like that, those women believe in going 50-50 because they don't feel comfortable with the men paying for everything. Over here, they're like, you better pay for everything. You know what I mean? So it's a different thought process that goes on depending on where you're at. Now, 50-50, that's up to each individual, but that $400, man, for a first date is just a wild ideology that came out of nowhere. And, I mean, if y'all know where it started, please let me know, because it is wild to think that dating has gotten so wild and just weird that they think a certain amount of money makes a difference. But let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, and be on the lookout for more videos. All right, everybody? Peace.